You are sitting in a meeting, surrounded by people, tossing around opinions. The energy is high, the voices are overlapping, and you are trapped in the invisible chair. You have a great idea locked inside your head. You wait for a tiny gap in the conversation to slide your thoughts in, but that pause never comes. Someone else jumps in, the topic shifts, and your idea goes unheard. The people talking aren't trying to ignore you. They are caught up in the momentum of the discussion, and your natural communication rhythm is currently out of sync with the speed of the room. Breaking through that noise requires a specific framework. You can learn to leverage the group's own momentum to ensure your voice is heard, without having to become the loudest or most aggressive person at the table. Mastering this sense of timing marks the transition from being a passive spectator to an active, valued contributor in any high-stakes discussion. To change the dynamic, we have to address why we stay silent. We often fall into an overthinking loop, waiting for a perfect, polite silence that fast-paced groups rarely provide. This delay triggers a noticeable energy drop. As the seconds pass, that internal timer ticks up, increasing anxiety and making it more difficult to find the confidence to speak. To bypass this anxiety, you start with nonverbal signaling. In a group setting, people process visual cues before they register the details of what you are saying. You can break the spectator posture by uncrossing your arms, leaning your body slightly forward, or offering a sharp nod. These movements work because they catch the eye of the other participants. They subconsciously signal that you are transitioning from listening to contributing, which prompts the group to look your way. Since human attention prioritizes visual changes, these movements clear a path for your voice. Adjusting your posture makes entering the conversation feel like a natural progression rather than an abrupt interruption. Once you have the room's attention, you deploy a verbal anchor. Instead of waiting for a speaker to finish their entire point, you drop a short phrase while they are wrapping up their final sentence. This is a 4-word verbal bookmark. Phrases like, "I want to add to that," or "hold that thought," signal to everyone's brain that a new speaker is taking the floor. Once you drop that anchor, it's too easy, bro. Because those few words signal a change in the conversational flow, the group instinctively pauses to hear what follows. In environments where the topic is moving rapidly, you combine your anchor with a technique called the hook and pivot. The hook involves validating the last person's statement. By saying, "I like what you mentioned about the timeline," you prove you are listening, securely attaching your thoughts to their momentum. Then you pivot. You use that established connection to steer the conversation toward your own idea, smoothly transitioning the spotlight to your perspective. Using anchors and pivots removes the friction from interruptions. You transform a fight for the floor into a collaborative transition of power. Even with these tools, you might still feel like your idea isn't polished enough to justify stopping the meeting. However, groups that only hear unanimous, perfectly aligned opinions often suffer from groupthink. This prevents teams from identifying risks or exploring better alternatives. A messy or unpolished perspective is often exactly what a group needs to expose hidden blind spots in their current plan. You can lower the stakes for yourself by using a disclaimer. Simply stating, "I have a rough idea about this," allows you to contribute without the pressure of delivering a perfect solution. The group benefits from the specific insights you've gathered while observing the discussion. Your perspective adds value as soon as it's shared, regardless of how perfectly you phrased it. When you apply these steps, you change how the room perceives you. You are no longer watching from the shadows. You are a respected voice helping to shape the outcome. You don't need to dominate the entire conversation to be effective. Your goal is simply to claim your space once. For your next meeting, set one specific task. Use an anchor phrase to share one thought within the first 10 minutes of the interaction. Speaking early prevents the energy drop from taking hold. Once you have successfully claimed the floor once, every subsequent contribution becomes significantly easier. Your voice has practical value in these discussions. Stop sitting in the invisible chair and take the space you have earned.